Research Institute, Andishe Online-Germany, AOG. Themes from the University. Theme 16. The structure of the whole of existence. Part 1. The origin of creation, God. In this article, I have explained and interpreted the theme of God in the same way as I presented it in the book, A Different Interpretation of the Bible, because in principle the discussion about it is always the same and remains unchanging until the end of creation. Therefore, I do not want to try to write a long literary essay about it, since I know that it does not change the essence of the subject. It only wastes my time and energy in dealing with other subjects. In other words, a discussion of how it exists and where it comes from is absurd. Either you believe in God or you do not. In the teachings of the University of the Perfection Process, the name of God, Jehovah, is Allah, Yazdin, or any other name that religions have chosen for it, refers to the eternal origin of the creation of all existence, including the material, semi-material, and immaterial worlds, and also to the ruling and applicable laws. In the debate about the components, it is assumed that a person who reads these lines believes in the existence of God, even if this belief is weak and superficial, or that at least this person is willing to do research and dares to invest a little time to read this article. Because for humanity, the discussion at the beginning was always about proving his existence and not how he exists. From the cosmological research we extract astonishing information, which above all points to the gigantic size of the universe. Only a small corner of this unlimited area, for example, the size of a fingernail, contains billions of stars, the suns, many of which are millions of times larger than our sun and some of which no longer exist. The order of this endless realm even makes many scientists think that there must be a supernatural power behind it and an incredibly intelligent force or observer, whose knowledge and wisdom is certainly beyond the imagination of creatures. At the University of the Perfection Process, this superpower has specific characteristics and properties, some of which are interpreted as follows. He is a God that is always unprecedented and unique. He has determined the two materials and immaterial dimensions of all existence and all the laws necessary for the creation of all living beings and creatures, which, among other things, regulate the perfection of all kinds of creatures. He created all basic human, animal, plant, and mineral races, all different languages, and all different religions. Among them, racial mixtures, different dialects, and some customs are exceptions, since they were created by the clash of tribes, races, and nations. He is in contact with all creatures throughout the universe, and this deals with each group and even with each individual according to their group or individual beliefs, and with each person, depending on the degree of progress on the path to perfection. For if he were to contact us with his true essence, whose knowledge and power cannot be understood by any creature, even by special creatures and eternal authorities, this would be absurd and ineffective, because then we would not understand his language. In that case, we would not be able to know what he expects of us. Simply put, he contacts you in one way, but differently. The goal of the creation of the material world was to complete the perfection process of all creatures. In the material world there is nothing but kindergarten, school, high school, the university, and finally a laboratory for souls. Only in such a material environment is mental maturity possible. In dealing with the contradictions and discrepancies of this world, Souls gradually learn to deal with contradictory phenomena, gain experience, and ultimately acquire perfection in the group meta. To facilitate the completion of the spiritual perfection, the Creator has allowed the formation of religions, sects, and various worldviews and beliefs on the planet, so that each person and thus each group of people accordingly attains the degree of spiritual progress and even according to their own interest. One of the above-mentioned possibilities and thus the stages of spiritual growth one by one in order to return to the origin of the existence. From a more specific point of view, even disbelief is part of the perfection process. Quantum mechanics is very respectful, but an inner voice tells me that it is not yet true, Jacob. The theory delivers a lot, but it hardly brings us closer to the mystery of the Old One, God. In any case, I am convinced that he, the God, does not roll the dice. Einstein. Here, as a great scientist, he rightly believes that God's actions are certainly not based on probability and are by no means unwise and lacking in careful planning. This inner voice provides him with precise inspiration, because at that time, the true Jacob had not yet appeared and quantum mechanics was unable to explain the origin of the multiverses. By true Jacob, Einstein meant the truth that can explain the origin of the entire existence. Master Elohi has over the years provided the true Jacob in the form of doctrine as a manifesto of a worldview that is only new. This doctrine was published about 60 years after the letter was written and made available to all. Thus the world got to know the secret of the old. I think that we have sufficiently discussed the basic concepts of God from the University of the Perfection process. This issue is an emotional thing that is connected with logic. This is something that can never be proved by writing and discussing. However, as you learn the thoughts and teachings of this university, you will gradually become familiar with the God we believe in. End of part 1. In the second part, we will deal with the subject of planning in the original plan. Research and analysis. Farah Mars Tabish. Sources. The works of Master Nur Ali Elohi, and also the book A Different Interpretation of the Bible by Farah Mars Tabish.